Let's begin our journey back in time, back to the 1950s. You know those dishes that filled the house with delicious aromas, the kind that made everyone stop to savor them before even sitting down? Well, get ready, because we're about to remember the foods that truly defined Canadian family kitchens. Prepare your hearts and your stomachs, because a wave of nostalgia is coming. First up, the famous meatloaf. Who remembers those afternoons when the kitchen smelled of roasting beef and onions? We'd mix ground beef with egg, a little bread or flour, and simple seasonings, then bake it slowly. When it came out of the oven, that scent made everyone flock to the kitchen. Served with mashed potatoes or boiled carrots, it was the star of Sunday dinner. I swear, just thinking about it makes my mouth water. And speaking of mashed potatoes, nothing was processed back then. Everything was made by hand, with potatoes cooked until tender, a little butter, and hot milk. Mixing it all together was almost a ritual, stirring slowly, smelling, and tasting to see if it was just right. These mashed potatoes went with practically everything: meat, chicken, even stews. It was simple, but it made everyone at the table smile. Shepherd's pie was a hug in food form. Ground beef sautéed with onions and spices, topped with mashed potatoes, and baked until golden brown. When it came out of the oven, the sweet aroma of the potatoes mixed with the meat made everyone sit down quickly at the table. Back then, eating was about celebrating together, and this pie had that in spades. Now, let's talk about pea soup, a thick, hearty soup that warmed the body during the Canadian winter. I remember my mother and grandmother serving it with pieces of homemade bread, and each spoonful brought that comfort only real food can provide. A soup like this, made with love, was almost like medicine. It warmed both body and soul. And finally, for this round, the classic roast beef. Meat slowly roasted in the oven, surrounded by carrots, potatoes, and onions. The aroma alone announced that it was going to be a special dinner. Cutting into the meat and tasting how succulent it was, accompanied by the sauce made from the roast itself. Each bite was like going back in time, remembering family Sundays filled with laughter and stories. Now let's remember the sweet delights that filled our homes with wonderful smells and pure joy. Oh, how amazing it was to smell the aroma of a cake, pie, or pudding filling the kitchen and drifting into the living room. I'm going to tell you about 5 of these sweet treats that were staples of the 1950s in Canada. The tourtière was that traditional Quebec pie, made with well-seasoned meat and a crispy pastry crust. The secret was in the seasoning. Cinnamon, cloves, and nutmeg gave it a flavor that made us salivate from the smell alone. It was a food for parties, Sunday lunch, or Christmas, and everyone eagerly awaited that first bite. I still remember the dough cracking slightly and revealing the succulent filling inside, a true embrace for the soul. Then there were the little pork pies, common in diners and at home. A buttery crust, a pork filling cooked with simple seasonings and baked until golden brown. The smell coming from the oven. Oh, you wanted to eat one right after the other. The kids would gather in the kitchen, just waiting for them to cool down enough to try. It was a classic that no one forgot. Butter tarts were small but powerful in flavor. A delicate pastry filled with sugar, butter, and sometimes a little maple syrup. When they baked, the sweet aroma filled the entire house. And the taste? A mix of crunchy, sweet, and creamy that made any afternoon snack special. If you've ever tried one, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Ah, maple fudge. A sweet treat made with maple syrup and milk, slowly cooked to the perfect consistency. A spoonful would just melt in your mouth and bring back the warmth of home, childhood, and cold afternoons by the fireplace. And best of all, they were often shared with friends and neighbors, because no one kept this amazing flavor to themselves. And who doesn't remember homemade vanilla, carrot, or apple cakes? Taking the time to carefully mix the ingredients, smelling that sweet aroma waft through the kitchen, and tasting a little just to make sure it was perfect. It was simple, but each slice was filled with love and memories. The perfect dessert after a family dinner. We've come up with 5 more dishes that were true comforts of the Canadian kitchen in the 1950s. You know that kind of food you feel in your heart before you even taste it? Well, these were exactly like that. Bread pudding was proof that nothing went to waste. You'd take day-old bread, mix it with milk, eggs, sugar, and a little vanilla, and bake it. When it came out of the oven, the kitchen filled with a sweet, welcoming aroma. Each spoonful was creamy, with soft chunks of bread, and it reminds me of cold family afternoons, with everyone waiting for the pudding to cool just enough to enjoy it. Canned salmon with saltine crackers. It might seem strange today, but back then, it was a simple and much-loved snack. You'd take the salmon, mix it with a little butter, and spread it on crunchy crackers. It was quick, tasty, and nutritious. Many people remember this snack from recess or afternoons at home, always accompanied by a fun conversation in the kitchen. Ah, mac and cheese. Pure comfort. Cooked macaroni with lots of melted cheese, baked until golden brown. Nothing processed, everything made with care. The aroma was irresistible, and that first creamy, warm spoonful brought back the feeling of a hug from your mom or grandma, a kid's food that delighted adults too. Cabbage rolls stuffed with meat and rice were a common Sunday lunch. Each leaf was lovingly rolled, slowly cooked in a savory sauce, and served hot. The aroma of the sauce mingling with the meat and cabbage brings back memories of families gathered together, talking and laughing around the dinner table. And baked beans. Beans slow-cooked with a sweet sauce and pieces of bacon or ham. Simple, yet so striking. Served with bread or toast, each spoonful evoked lazy afternoons, stories told around the table, and that flavor that only home-cooked food can have. A classic everyone loved. Pot roast was a slow-cooked roast with vegetables all around. The meat was so tender, it practically melted in your mouth. The aroma wafting through the house was irresistible, and everyone waited for that first slice to be cut to savor the rich, warm sauce. It was a true embrace in food form. And what about chicken pot pie? A crispy crust on the outside with a creamy filling bursting with chicken and vegetables. When it came out of the oven, the aroma filled the kitchen and living room. Each spoonful was comforting, perfect for cold days, and reminiscent of family dinners filled with laughter and shared stories. Fish cakes were simple but tasty boiled or fried fish patties. Served hot, they were a quick and much-loved dinner option. Many children remember eating them with homemade sauce, sitting at the table while chatting about their day. Cornbread was a soft, slightly sweet bread made from cornmeal. Served warm, often alongside soups or stews, it was pure comfort. I remember cutting a warm slice and spreading a little butter on it, and the aroma that filled the kitchen. It was pure nostalgia. And finally, oatmeal cookies. Crunchy on the outside, soft on the inside, with a sweet aroma that reminds me of lazy afternoons in the kitchen. Each bite was filled with memories, the sound of the spoon stirring the dough, the oven warming the house, and the anticipation of eating one with a glass of milk or tea. If any of these dishes brought back memories of your childhood or your youth, please share them in the comments below. I'd love to know which one reminded you of home. And if you enjoy traveling back in time with me and discovering foods from the past, please subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next adventure into culinary history. Thanks for watching.